Welcome to our Operational Services Committee. On this committee are myself, Councillors O'Connor, Councillor O'Toole, and Mayor Clayton. So we'll call the meeting to order, and I'll look for an adoption of the agenda, please. Councillor O'Connor. O'Toole, sorry.
I move the committee adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you for that. That carries. Yeah, sorry. We have no delegations, so we'll go into reports and our service area update, and I'll look to Chief Glavin for that, please.
Thanks, Chair Palat. We'll start off in engineering and transportation services. We've recently posted RFPs for the Bear River Control Structure annual regulatory inspections, as well as the Crystal Lake tree planting project in partnership with FRIA. As well, we've closed the road rehabilitation phase 1, as well as RFP for road condition assessment and pavement management system update for 2025, 2026, and 2027. Our traffic signal rehabilitation program is recommencing work on the intersection of 68th Ave and 108th Street, as well as 98th Ave and 100th Street, with, again, those projects seeking to do the bulk of the work outside of any of our high periods of traffic. Crews are also out potholing on arterial roads and removing storage piles from cul-de-sacs and parking lots. In corporate facility management, we've recently completed the transit solar expansion project, which added an additional 113 kilowatts of solar energy to the existing 148 kilowatts. And what that does is it allows us to add additional transit buses, electric buses, in the future. In transit, we provided service to our Grande Prairie accessible transit clients to the Northern Spirit Light Show with 61 people attending over 3 weekends. And overall ridership for that service this year, for the year for accessible transit, was up 3.6%. On our conventional transit side, we had ridership was up 44.5% in 2024 over 2023, which breaks down into approximately a 36% increase in adults, a 63% increase in youth, 33% increase in on-demand, and 15% increase in seniors utilizing our service. In environment and parks, we have our biological team out actively doing elm pruning within Jubilee Park this week, and are continuing to conduct snow and ice control at bus stops and our trails and pathways throughout the city. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you for that, Chief Glavin. Any questions? Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Palat. Chief Glavin, in regards to snow removal and windrows and ice control, can you give me a little more thorough of an update? How are we doing? I've had a few emails recently about windrows, and I know that we've had a different sort of approach in regards to street widening, et cetera. So maybe you can expand on that a bit for me.
Sure, thanks, Mayor Clayton. So we completed doing all of the windrow pickup last week. So crews now are largely concentrating on removing piles throughout the city in cul-de-sacs and any other areas that we didn't have storage adjacent to the road. Within that time period, we also, depending on the temperature, have to do work on any of the water issues that we have when we do have above zero temperatures that pulls some of those crews away in order to do that work to ensure that we don't have flooding. But we're probably 2-3 weeks out before we would have the piles removed, depending upon weather. So we do have some warm weather back in the forecast, which will likely pull some of those people off again to do some flood control mitigation.
I have a follow-up and a second question. Could you tell? Thanks, Chair Palat. Can you tell me, would the priority of removing snow piles and piles in neighborhoods align with the regular schedule of snow removal the day before garbage day, or will it be somewhat random?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. It's largely neighborhood by neighborhood, so it likely will not conform to garbage day, and it won't be as disruptive as garbage day with the equipment in there.
And the reason I ask is some neighborhoods have snow piled on the outside of a sidewalk. There may be street parking. People may not know when we're coming. So how do you manage those neighborhoods? Not just, the big cul-de-sac removals, but the pile up on the sides for the wider roads, some of the wider residential areas.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Some of that, I'll have to 100% confirm, but I don't believe we actually remove the stuff that is on the roads where we have dual sidewalks and it gets plowed to the side in 2 separate windrows. Those windrows, I don't believe, get removed under the policy.
Okay. And if I could have a second question. I've had a few comments and emails recently in regards to potholes. So can you remind those who might be watching and for council's information, what is the winter process for potholes and how do people report those? How do we mitigate those? If you can just expand a bit on that.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. For any potholes in the city, what we highly recommend is if anyone does encounter a pothole to report it through 311 or through Access GP. Those reports get routed directly to the supervisory team within transportation that can then go prioritize those potholes. We also do have people out and as we see potholes, we will add them in and address them on a priority basis. So the ones that are most significant, that are likely to cause an issue, we prioritize those to get out there as soon as possible to rectify those issues.
So just for those who may not know, we have a cold mash program that we fill potholes in the winter. But there was some concern I heard from people that we're going to wait till the snow and ice is gone. That's not true. We can fill potholes year round, correct?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Yes, that's correct. We have a couple different methods that we use. We have the cold mix, but we also do have an asphalt recycler and infrared heater that for some of the larger ones, we'll go out and do a much more durable patch for those.
Perfect. Thanks for the information.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief Glavin? Thanks for those questions, Mayor Clayton. I had a similar one, but appreciate you asking that. So we'll move on to our next item, our Jumpstart Inclusive Playground and Lions Park, and I'll have Chief Glavin introduce, please.
Thanks, Chair Palat. So the city's worked with our local Canadian Tire and Canadian Tire Jumpstart charities for the last couple of years to find a suitable location for an accessible playground within the city. We have analyzed a number of sites to find that location, and today Mr. DeVries has a recommendation for the site as well as the naming of the playground.
Thank you. Through Chair Palat. As mentioned by Chief Glavin, in 2023, representatives from Jumpstart Canadian Tire reached out to the city to propose funding a fully accessible Jumpstart playground. The inclusive playground would represent an investment of $950,000, which contributed by Jumpstart, which of course would enhance accessibility within the community. Administration collaborated with Jumpstart to find a suitable location for that playground, ultimately selecting Lions Park based on site assessments and, critically, the alignment with Jumpstart's criteria. An assessment was conducted to estimate the internal costs required to prepare Lions Park for the installation of the Jumpstart Inclusive Playground. The preliminary site works are estimated at $155,000 and an additional $56,000 to renovate the washroom facility so it is fully accessible. So in total, the city will contribute $211,000 from allocated capital budget to support the development of the Jumpstart Inclusive Playground at Lions Park. With regards to naming, the name Jumpstart Inclusive Playground acknowledges the significant contribution of Jumpstart in funding this state-of-the-art accessible playground. The naming duration would then align with the usable life of that asset or in that playground structure, which is approximately 20 years. With regards to stakeholder engagement, Jumpstart has emphasized the naming of the playground as the Jumpstart Inclusive Playground is a critical component of their support and funding commitment. In addition, administration has engaged with the Neighborhood Association in Highland Park, the Lions Club, and the Accessibility Advisory Committee, all of which who have expressed their support for the project itself. There are no additional financial implications associated with the playground itself, as during budget deliberations, Council approved $300,000 in capital funding for playground and amenity replacement for 2025, and of that amount, an estimated $211,000 would be allocated to cover the required city contributions of this project. So with that, the recommendation today is that the Operational Services Committee recommend Council direct administration to negotiate and finalize the gift agreement with Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities for the donation of an inclusive playground structure to be installed at Lions Park and to be named the Jumpstart Inclusive Playground for the duration of its usable life. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentations. Questions from Council? Councillor O'Connor.
I'll do business. I really appreciate the Dungeons coming forward and putting this project for us. I think it really moves it forward and it's put in the right place. So I'll do business when you're ready.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other questions from council on this one? I'll just have one and then I'll go back to you, Councillor O'Connor. I'm just curious on, I appreciate that we had money allocated for capital, and so 211,000 will just come out of the allocated money. Does this slide other projects back that would have normally been done, or was this kind of earmarked previously when we were looking at the 2025 plan for capital spending on parks, or?
Thank you, Chair Plott. So the capital funding would push this project a little bit forward in this specific location. However, the existing playground that is there is 19 years old as of now. So it would be part of a near future replacement anyhow. So what this does is basically secure a replacement plan for that space.
Okay, so it's just kind of juggling our own capital plan. So this, we're not replacing a park, and this was already in the works to get replaced, it sounds like anyways?
Correct, in the forthcoming years.
Okay. Sounds good. Councillor Thiessen?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Palat. Appreciate it. I don't sit on this committee. Just a question in regards to the existing playground. I know it is 19 years old, but I've played at Lions Park lots of times with the kids, nieces, grandkids. It all looks relatively in good condition. Do we have any plans to salvage any of the materials and maybe put them to use somewhere else in another reclaimed park?
Thank you. Through Chair Palat, if there are elements, or as they call them, events from that structure that are in good condition and would replace like for like at one of our other structures, we would certainly consider that. So during the contract that we'll award in the early summer for the removal of that, we will evaluate those options for those specific pieces.
Awesome. Thank you.
Councillor O'Toole?
Yeah, just a question regarding the playground itself. How long will it be out of service? Lions Park and the Avondale Park, I think, are some of the busiest parks in Grande Prairie, and they're on this one's on the south side, so that would be, I'm not going to say it's going to hurt, but it's going to make a change for a lot of people there.
Yeah, thank you. Through Chair Palat, obviously we want to maximize the time to do the site preparations as quickly as possible, so that's the city contribution portion. That'll happen as soon as we can get in. Early spring and into the early summer, and then we'll turn the site over to the Jumpstart contractors to install the playground. So there will be a portion of the summer season where the space will be limited and inaccessible for users, but it's obviously the time frame that's required to execute the work and have a great product in the end.
Well, we got 2 seasons, winter and construction season.
Okay, appreciate the report. I'll go to Councillor O'Connor for business, please.
Yes, before I do that, I have one question in regards to parking. I'm assuming that the curb and part of the park will be taken out to put angle parking in. Is that correct?
Through Chair Palat, no. The parking will be retained just along the curb, so it'll be on-street parking. Requirement of Jumpstart is that 4% of the available space would be accessible, and so some of the site preparations work and the work that the city will do with some of the capital funds is to ensure that the curbing and landing zones for those accessible stalls are installed, ideally nearest the playground.
Okay. It's a very busy park. I'm just concerned about parking, so I hope that's considered at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So I will move that committee recommend council direct administration to negotiate and finalize a gift agreement with Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities for the donation of an inclusive playground structure to be installed in Lions Park and to be named the Jumpstart Inclusive Playground for the duration of its usable life.
Okay. Thanks for that, Councillor O'Connor.
Mayor Clayton.
Oh, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Palat. I just wanted to thank administration for the work they've done in regards the work they did in regards to finding a location. I know that initially when the Canadian Tire principals approached the city, there was multiple locations and considerations. It's really innovative, and to see this asset added to our community is a great win. It comes with the foresight of the Canadian Tire local operators and really pushing that envelope with Jumpstart. So it's extremely we're extremely thankful to Canadian Tire and Jumpstart and our local operators, but also administration for the time that they put in to find the right location. I think this is going to be a great asset to our community. So thanks so much.
Yeah, great comments. Thanks for that. Please vote. And that carries unanimously, and I'm excited that's going to council for next week. We have no correspondence, other business, or bylaw and policy review, so we'll come to under bylaw and policy review. We have a subdivision authority bylaw amendment, and I'll go to Chief Glavin for that, please.
Thank you, Chair Palat. Administration is proposing amendments to the subdivision authority bylaw to reflect organizational changes, updated zoning references, as well as ensuring alignment with current regulations. And with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Downing as she makes her way over.
Thank you. Through the chair. There isn't much of a presentation here. This is a administrative bylaw to correct the committee name. So rather than it being the Invest GP committee, it is a standing committee, which means we won't have to amend the bylaw again. We will be coming forward shortly with appointment of subdivision authority. So we need to clean up this bylaw in order to take that next step.
Okay, appreciate the introduction. Looks like a pretty normal housekeeping procedure. Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, when you're ready for business.
No hands go up, so if you wanted to do business.
This is basically a housekeeping process, and we do that quite often with bylaws. I move the committee recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C 1323E, being an amendment to the subdivision authority bylaw. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor O'Connor. Please. Geez, I'm keep looking at Councillor O'Connor when I'm talking to you. My bad. Thanks. Yeah. And that carries. And we'll just go to our last item, our outstanding items list, to Chief Glavin, please.
Thank you, Chair Palat. No updates at this time.
Okay. No updates at this time. I'll go to Councillor O'Toole to approve the outstanding items, please.
Thank you very much. I move that council receive the January 21st outstanding items list as presented for information.
Okay, so that's for committee, and we'll please vote. And that carries, so we will adjourn this meeting and we'll be back momentarily for our next. Thank you.